I have explained this previously, but if you're new on my channel, I will explain it again. One of the most wonderful achievements of mankind is that of language. And maybe you're not a Christian, but someone must have wrote the Bible, right? And the Tower of Babel is quite an ancient story, which means that even before we were born, people understood just how important language and definitions are. One of the main purposes we can use language for is to describe something that another person hasn't seen, and with that description, the person is aware of an object that they never have seen before. So, for example, if you go back in time and you imagine the first person that went into a cave, he must have seen interesting things. And he started describing them. He started describing the darkness, the dampness, the stalactites, the stalagmites. And then when he went back to the people at home, he described the cave. And those people were aware of the existence of the cave and what they can find inside it just by hearing the language that the first person said. Now, the words we use are like tools. They're instruments. They are things that we use when we need. And of course, over time, tools can change and evolve, but it's only through postmodernism and Hegelism that we have discovered that actually you can change definitions and rearrange them because they are social constructs. And as such, the previous person that has described the original cave was a very evil person, okay? He had a lot of phobias. He was deranged mentally so, and, because he named the stalactites, he was actually offensive towards the stalactites. You see, because the stalactites, maybe they want to be icicles or ice cream or any other words now we can associate to it, right? And by changing the association, by tinkering with the definitions, you end up with a Tower of Babel situation where no one knows what you are talking about. And this is why one of the most famous documentaries of today is, unfortunately for the progressives, What is a Woman? By Matt Walsh. One of the most viewed documentaries, but also one of the less reviewed ones, because progressives don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So, when you live in a very interesting timeline where people cannot describe what a woman is, you make up all of these interesting new terms, which upsets even Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks. I mean, she got into a pickle because she doesn't like to be called person with a uterus. She finds it degrading and demeaning, and unfortunately, I do have to agree with Anna Kasparian. Now, if you're a more progressive-oriented person, go to your wife, your girlfriend, your mother, and call her a person with a uterus. Or a birthing people. And even a birthing person. And I believe this expression was even used in the official US documents. It is indeed dehumanizing, degrading. I personally do like it because if you were to apply it to me, you can call me the inseminator. And that sounds really badass. I am the impregnator, right? Like if you go to your father and you call him the impregnator, maybe he would appreciate that. Your mother being called a birthing person, probably not. But a new term just dropped. Apparently, this is from a cancer trust, which, normally their resources are dedicated to figuring out ways to fight cancer, but now some of their resources must go to a very progressive and morally upstanding member of our society, a diversity officer, I assume. These are highly educated people, some of the smartest among us. Like the Greeks used to have the wise old men that would direct their culture. Now we have the wise young woman, which is usually a diversity officer. From what I notice, they're not very diverse. Like they lack diversity when it comes to white men filling their ranks. Is there such a thing like a white man that's a diversity officer? Like, please show me if you know of any, because I looked and I couldn't find a single one. I know like some of them, they do go to university at various grievance studies. Like they do like diversity studies and whatnot. And I'm like, well, why are you doing this? You're never going to get a job in the industry. Like, it's kind of like being a woman and going to a Catholic university. Like, you're not going to be a Catholic priest. Like, what are you doing with your time? But anyway, right, so usually these people are paid a lot of money because they require a lot of resources, right? Like they require a lot of wealth in order to be able to produce these intellectual stimulating words like bonus hole for vagina. I mean, no, seriously, like, imagine just the mental effort, the mental fortitude required to come up with such a I wouldn't be able to do it, but they did, you know. So apparently at Joe's Cervical Cancer Trust in the United Kingdom is offering an alternative vocabulary, right? Very useful for women genitalia. And apparently this is inclusive medical language, okay? Because like you as a doctor, if you don't speak, you are excluding people. But the moment you start speaking, the moment you flap your mouth and vocal sounds come up of your throat, you become inclusive. Like it's kind of like a mating call, I guess. You know, inclusive language. Like it calls all of the people together. But if you shut up, it excludes people. So it's an inclusive language. In the glossary of LGBT terms, bonus hole. Bonus hole. I think I may use this with my wife. Like next time I do the cushy, I will be I'm using inclusive language. Is an optional term for vagina in the in the context of cancer treatment. So you cannot use it in any other context, right? So like if the woman gets diagnosed, I can call, but you know, baby, look, we're going to get through this. It's hard time, but look at the bright side. At least now we can call it a bonus hole. According to its website, the trust offers the following definition, guideline. An alternative use for the word vagina. It is important to check which word someone need to prefer to use, of course. Before becoming a doctor, before even opening the medical book, before like even learning the ABCs, you should learn the inclusive language. This is the communicat from the party. And if you do not learn it, you need to be fired. You need to be ostracized. You need to have your medical license taken away. We cannot tolerate these people in our inclusive society. It only takes one bad apple to spoil the bunch. Apparently, the glossary also offers the term front hole. Using the correct language when referring to someone's gender identity, it is a simple and effective way to demonstrate support and recognition. Isn't it more funny when you speak like this with an authoritarian, like firm voice? Because these bigots don't understand otherwise, right? Like, you need to take a firm stance when talking about the correct language when you refer to someone's gender identity in a simple and effective way to demonstrate support and recognition. I mean, holy shit! Like if I was listening in the audience, I'd be like, okay, no, you convinced me. Please don't fire me. Please do not ban me from social media. Please do not take away my bank account. Please do not Nigel Farage me. If incorrect language is used without being corrected, it can cause someone to feel hurt or distressed. Do you want to make someone feel hurt or distressed? My God, South Park needs to hire me. Holy shit. I just realized this is my calling. I hope that South Park is going to consider hiring me as a writer. Look. I have stuff to provide. I lived under communism. I know how to correctly address the people. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.